Hello, everyone. Great to have you this evening. I'm so excited. We're here with our special guest, Mrs. Bunmi Ibraheem. But before I go into bringing in our guest this afternoon, I would like just to tell you what this show is all about so that you have a focus. And for those who are joining for the first time, they can have a clarity of what we do on this live show. Congratulations on your journey to making a difference. I'm so excited you're getting on this journey with me. We can become that change agent we're all called to be. I need your support to like, subscribe, and share this page. If this live session has been impacting you, please just share. I will talk about my book briefly. Can anything hold you back? This is a book that everyone should have. It's subtitled Making a Difference. The book was written to encourage youths, men and women to live a life of difference. A life of difference is a life that is worthy of emulation. A life, a better version of oneself. That is a 360-degree personality, having a control of your life, a life of intentionality. I'll be reading an excerpt from the book just to water your appetite. It says, you are not your circumstances. Neither are you the challenges you face, but you are a person of destiny, born for purpose. So we're all being here, we're all here for a purpose. Another excerpt from the book says, you are a gift. So unwrap the gift in you to impact your world. You can get this book on Amazon or Jumia. When you receive this book, or this ebook, or the physical copy, you can please share me a post on your social media with a caption, I just got the book. Can anything hold you back? Subtitle Making a Difference. Please kindly tag me. Remember to tag me. Don't forget that I would love to get your reviews, testimonial, and feedbacks, and your story as well. So you can send it to info@deepinsightword.com. On our show, what we do basically on this live show, we're making a difference with Sandra Ukoh. We train, teach, mentor, and coach on how people can become better versions of themselves in the areas of their finances, business, career, leadership, and relationships. We learn from other people's stories and life experience so we can write on their experience to avoid the pitfalls and they fell into and get to our goals faster, even more faster, and have better versions of ourselves. Making a difference includes being financially okay, doing great on all business fronts, doing great spiritually, physically, mentally, being an all-rounder, having a balanced life. And basically, before I bring in our guests, Mrs. Bunmi Ibraheem, she had been a mentor for several years for me. And she gave me the first book I ever read, The Millionaire Woman Next Door. He was a bulky book, and I really cherished it. The book has been with me for over 10 or 15 years. Bunmi Ibraheem is a managing partner of Swift and More. She was called to bar in 1990, and she's responsible for the operational excellence of the firm in delivering the best quality service and solutions to clients. Her area of expertise are Bunmi is particularly gifted in negotiation, litigation, and drafting. She also has considerable experience in working with government ministries, agencies, and the regulatory bodies and authorities. A main area of practice is litigation and alternative dispute resolution, legal business advisory support. She's into real estate, professional membership and association. Bunmi holds the following positions: member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrar UK branch, council member of the section of legal practice of the Nigerian Bar Association, member and Nigerian Bar Association, member International Bar Association. I'm, I'm glad to bring her on board now to speak and tell us more about herself. It's so glad to have you. I'm excited. I feel very honored having Mrs. Bunmi Ibraheem on this show. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation. And thank you because we want to hear from you. We want to learn from your story. I know you've been a person of impact to me and my world. And I know that you can be an impact to the world at large. And so I want people to hear your story. And as John Maxwell will always say, he says, how do you want your story to be told? and you want your story to be told in such a way that when you're no longer there, your story you can leave a mark in the sand of times. So I'll be leaving the floor for you to talk now while I take it cool and hear from you. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you so much, Sandra. It's great to see you looking so well. And it's
Thank
a
you.
real honor and a privilege to be with you this day to talk about this very, very important subject. Number one, how I want to be remembered. And number two, how we can all be better versions of ourselves. I think the first way that I would want to be remembered and in telling my story is that which I was taught and that which I saw, I hand over to the next generation. And that is actually Abraham's legacy, the faith that he had over to his children. Those children handed it over to their own children. That is the real legacy. The second part of that is that scripture that says that the older women should teach the younger women. Now, I have been a beneficiary of that covenant. I call it a covenant because it is a covenant. And
It
I
is.
remember in our church, we would have house cell meetings, we would have men's meetings, and there the older women, I'm talking about older in age, I'm talking about old in faith, old in marriage, would teach us what they had gone through from their own experiences. And what I really loved about it was that they were honest. Where they made mistakes, they still told us the story. So that they didn't paint themselves as being perfect, holier than thou. And that enabled us younger ones to also be able to say, well, Auntie did this wrong, or to have freedom to say, oh, I don't think I'm doing so well in this area, or I have a problem in this area. Can you advise me? And being a beneficiary of all of that, I think I have a duty to also pass it over. Now, I've spoken about the church, I've spoken about the spiritual aspect, but I believe that that is also something that extends to every area of our lives. I was just told recently that am I even aware that I employ a lot of women, and that in fact, most of my lawyers over the past 32 years that I've been in practice have actually been women. And I think it takes a woman to understand that I can have it all. It's not true. You can't have it all. Is what you're told is you can have it all, but you can't have it all at the same time. What happens is that you can have it all, but in some areas, you will not be 100%. So having gone through the work life, bringing up a family, working, having to cope with the emergencies, being late to school for pickup, and sometimes not making it at all, and having to cope with married life and so on, I think it's important for us to be able to employ other women and to just give them that leeway, make those excuses so that the generational work that they're doing does not suffer. Because you're bringing up children, you're bringing up the next generation. And that next generation is what actually makes the world that we live in.
Yeah, that's true. Awesome. Yeah, handing the baton to the next generation and ensuring that there's a saying that says, once you are a leader, you bring people, you teach them the skill that you know how to do well. The next time they are coming, you ask them to come with somebody else and allow them to teach those other people. And it says, you go beyond being an additional leader, you become a multiplication leader, meaning, when you do 2 times 2, 2 plus, let me look for a number. 4 plus 4 is 8. And when you do a multiplication, it compounds. 4 times 4 is 16. So if I was going to do me and someone, that's just 8. We're 8 in number, 4 of us. But when we do what is called the multiplication, you teach someone and you tell the person to teach someone else, and he brings somebody whenever he's coming. We multiply ourselves and we multiply our effort. We spread wild like a wildfire, and we're able to reach our world. So I want to ask, what informed you in your chosen career? Because I know those days when we were growing up, our parents would be like, I want you to be a lawyer. So it's difficult for you to find any home in Nigeria or Africa or the world generally where there are no doctors, no lawyers, and engineer. These 3 were critical in our growing up days. So I want to know, did you just wake up and find that you have a strength in arguing and negotiating and you went into law? Or your parents guided you and showed you what career paths to go?
Well, honestly, my parents did not force me to do anything. Throughout from O-levels, I chose my subjects myself and decided from the age of 12 that I wanted to be a lawyer. And so I chose that career path myself, and the necessary exams that I needed to do or subjects I needed to do to that qualification, I did those myself. And I really didn't think about whether I had the skills to become a lawyer, but I loved reading, and I'm an introvert. I'm a shy person. So I would much rather stay somewhere and be reading my book or be watching TV or being by myself. I'm very happy in my company. Lockdown was marvelous for me, you know. And that actually leads me to a misconception that people have, especially in Africa, which is we tend to think that lawyers are the people that talk a lot. That's not true. A good lawyer is one that listens.
Yeah,
so
sure.
if you're in a meeting and you're the one that's talking the most, there's a problem.
It is. There's no way you can listen.
Yes. So I like to listen. I like to read a lot. And I also was very, very lucky in that I wasn't forced into a particular career path. I was allowed to choose. And because I was allowed to choose, I chose what I love. And when I started practicing, it wasn't a hardship for me at all. So I could, dealing with Singapore at 2 a.m. Nigerian time, and then have to get to a meeting with an oil company at 8 a.m. wasn't a hardship because I loved it.
Oh, that's awesome. And how did you manage? I know that, you read a lot. I knew when I read, you were UK, you were US, you were Nigeria. How did you manage all the 3 places you had to go schooling, funding, because sometimes you find people who really do want to read, but, finances becomes like an hindrance. But I believe that whatever you set your heart to do, money cannot be a showstopper. You can always achieve. I just tell people money is just paper. You understand?
Well,
But there
I
are
was
other ways.
Yes, I was again very fortunate in that my parents bankrolled my education. And then, but halfway through, when I was in university, I started working. And I discovered that at that time, I was in school, I was in the university, we had classes 3 times a week. So what I then did was the rest of the other days, 3 days a week, I started working part-time. And then I had Sundays free. And I discovered that by working 3 days a week, 4 weeks of a month, I was earning exactly the same as the allowance that my father was giving me. So I was able to get my degree and also have some funds outstanding. Now I got married, and before I got married, I'd qualified in the UK and qualified in Nigeria. And then by the time I got married and had children, I decided I wanted to do my master's because I had been working and because I had those savings from when I had been in uni 4. I was able to have the funds to do the master's, but I couldn't do that master's full time. I did it part time because I was working. By that time, I had my own law firm, and then I had 2 children that I had to get to school every day, and then also had a husband that needed attention. But I have to be honest to say that the 2 years I did that master's part time, it was extremely tough. It was online, but I also had lectures. I chose to go to physical lectures. And I remember my daughter, when I was revising for my final exams, we had modules. So we would do 4 subjects and then you'd have exams. And on 4 subjects, you'd have exams. 4 subjects, you have your exams. And then you went to the second year, then you do 4, 4, 4 again. So I remember when I was about to do the last modules, the last 4 exams, I mean, I'm sure I was like a maniac. You know, my daughter said to me, "Mommy, when are you doing this exam, Seth?" Because the whole house was shocked. They all knew that something was going down, but I was able to do it, and I got a merit.
Awesome.
It was tough, and I did it. The difference between then, that was 2009, and today is that finally, with COVID, there are a lot of online courses that we can do. They don't have to be degree courses. They can be modules for, say, some specific, like entrepreneurship. There's a particular subject I think you need to have more knowledge about. You can go onto Coursera. You can listen to TEDx talks. And you will get the information that you need. For instance, on Coursera, those courses are free if you don't want to have a certificate. But if you want to have the certificate, and then you pay for it. Again, with COVID and then with the previous global financial downturn, a lot of these companies actually enable you to pay by installments because they know that things are tough financially. And it's easier for them to have some kind of income coming in than for you to decide, I'm not going to do it at all. And then they're not going to have any income. And that enables you to spread your expenses over some time. And at the end, the qualification or the certificate you get is the same as somebody who's physically sitting somewhere and has done it full time. There are plenty of options available.
Awesome. People say everything works together for good. COVID coming, it's not my joy that it ever came, but I want to let you know that doors were open. Things that either told people would never venture into, churches that would never be online, businesses, tomato sellers, food sellers that would never have been online. Everybody got online. As in, COVID came and made everybody internet compliant. Everybody want to have a laptop. Everybody wanted to have an Android phone. Gone are the days you had phones that would not be able to connect to internet. Everybody now wanted to have a phone. So with what you said, it's actually resonated with me so much because when I wanted to go for my program, I knew putting money together was going to be an issue. And I knew that, in a new area and getting funds to say, I was waiting for people to sponsor me. But when I never got the sponsor, I knew this is my dream, my life. So you don't expect somebody to paddle your canoe for you. It's your canoe. It's your ship. So you must drive it. I had to take the bull by the horn and I had to start somehow, spread the payment over time. It wasn't easy, and because I know I was not in a rat race with anyone, I wasn't competing with anyone, I was able to, deprive myself of future gratification. It says delay. I just, every other thing I had to cut them in order to be able to go for the program. And indeed, I was so excited and happy that I went. And just like you spoke, I'm sure for a lawyer, you keep reading and you have books to read because if you have to go to court, you have to go make some references. So I'm sure reading will never
Yeah.
stop for you. You keep reading. So for your daughter
I'm
saying,
reading.
"Oh, I know," and yeah, that's awesome. That's a great story that you were able to weather the storm. You were able to get to the peak of your career, and it shows that there is nothing difficult from becoming. Whatever you set your heart to do, whatever you want to do, nothing. That's why even the book I wrote, Can Anything Hold You Back? It also is speaking to me too. I'm also on my journey. Nothing should keep you from becoming the best versions of yourself. Nothing should keep you from becoming whatever you want to become. As much as the Bible says it for Abraham, he said, as much as he could see, he was able to get. So, as much as you can see, if you want to have a degree, you want to become a doctor, you want to become anything, even at the age of 60, you can become it. As much as you can focus on it and you can see it with your mind eyes that you can have it, surely money would not stop you. You just find that when you are focused on achieving it, money and every other thing that you need to get into it will just be available. Somehow God knows how he works his things out. Somebody somewhere would just find you and maybe ready to sponsor you, ready to assist you. All this school will just tell you, okay, let's do a payment plan. Start something and you work out something. And sincerely, I want to encourage the youth coming behind us that there is really nothing you cannot achieve. There's really nothing, I tell my children too, I said, don't say I cannot. Say I'll make an attempt. That when you put yourself that I will make an attempt, the Holy Spirit, everything comes together to work together for your good. And you just find out that you're able to do it. If you ask me to fly from the mountain, I will do it. I'll put my faith to test. Because whatever you put your mind to do, you would become. What you have, it says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. It's what you have on the inside of you. So if you don't have the right words in you, you would not be able to speak the right words to yourself. So self-talk, you need to talk to yourself first. You need to be able to encourage yourself. You need to be able to tell yourself, I can do it. Because if you wait for your cheerleaders out there, there are nobody that will cheer you. You are your first cheerleader. You are your first motivator. You need to motivate yourself before people start seeing you and seeing the things you do being impactful will start cheering you. And even if they don't cheer you up, please keep cheering yourself. Keep cheering yourself. And someday, somewhere, somebody will celebrate you. And you spoke about the family. I love that. You said you were able to cope. And thank God you had an husband who was there to support you. Because sometimes you find that when you don't have a supporting spouse, it becomes difficult for you. Because at times you will not be able to pick up the kids. You'll be able to give him a phone call and say, please, I'm running late for this lecture. Can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? And even in the absence where there are no partners for you as a single person, you can get help from your neighbors. You can get help from friends. You can get help from your network. And that's why I would say your network is your network. Who are the people around you? Who are the people you're talking to? So there are three things that affect a man: the book you read, the people you associate with, and the environments you grow. The environments where you thrive. So where are you living? Is there any hate? Is he hating you to becoming the best version of yourself? Are the books you're reading helping you to get in line with your goals? Are the people around you motivating you? Because you must have people who you're looking up to. Not people, yes, you might have people looking up to you, but you also must have people you're looking up to. It's a chain reaction. I look up to someone is looking up to me, and the person looking up to you, someone else is also looking up to them. There must be a connection somewhere. You must have a mentor. And that's where the need for a mentor is necessary, because you want to go into a chosen field, a chosen area. You don't know much about it. You've read on the internet. Google is there to help you. But you need someone already who is having a life scenario, life test you want to ask. There are people everywhere to ask questions around you, your neighborhood, your religious institution, wherever you belong, your circle of friends, where you work, your colleague at work. You could get help from there. And I want to ask, how did this affect your relationship? Because sometimes when you're reading too much, some friends will let you go and say, no, she's not social. She's antisocial. And how did you cope with friends and families, extended families, relationship? Because sometimes you might not be able to do some things or attend to them or give them the right attention that they need. It will lead to some kind of, strained relationship. How did you manage in all of this?
Well, for me, my time is the most important resource. It's the most I will never get it back. So I have to make sure I use it very well. And so in those 2 years, I had to be extremely focused. Number one, I wasn't going to pay that money again. And I also had to remember that, okay, I'm not going to say that in these 2 years, I'm not going to see anybody, I'm not going to talk to anybody, because some of the older ones might not be there at the end of the 2 years. But and some people can also actually, be missing. But I had to cut it down. I had to focus. What was important? I tried to meet up my responsibilities in church. I had responsibilities to my workers because I had my own business. And those employees were looking to me every month for their salaries. And that salary is what they will use to pay their rent, to feed their families, for medical bills, and also for whatever acts of charity that they want to do for others. So those were my priorities. So the preferities, as we say, the frivolities, I had to cut it down.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I became a nun, I cut it down. And then at the end of the 2 years, when I had achieved what I wanted to achieve, then the jollification could continue.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. You spoke about being intentional, being focused, knowing what you want, and being disciplined. It's not easy to be disciplined because it's like telling yourself no, cutting on down on things you would love to do. It is said people like comforts. There's no one who doesn't like comforts. And for you to cut down on your comfort zone is a lot. You have to cut down on every extras that could make life so easy and very enjoyable for you. You were focused, and you spoke about time as an invaluable resource. Money lost can be gotten back, but time lost can never be gotten back. You spoke about it, and I always say that time is an indispensable thing you cannot afford to play with. You can always get money. Money you lose in one investment can be gotten in another investment, but your time that you lose, you can never go back to it. You can never go back to when you were 5 years old, when you were 40, what you never did at your age 40, 50. Sometimes you never can go back to it. So that's for me, I took time to be very invaluable, and I took being disciplined. Sometimes you have to cut on relationship, you have to cut out some friends, and you have to be focused. You have to be intentional living. So you have got to be focused. Yes, people might give you names. That's their opinion. What you should care more about should be about what you're achieving, what is in front of you, what's your goal, what's your vision. So you should stay focused. Don't lose heart. Don't lose focus. Don't look for the comfort zones, and you deprive yourself of the future gain that are indispensable, that you cannot buy with money. So that resonated with me, and I appreciate those nugget for me. I had to put them down so that I can go back to them again. Perhaps you have something you want to say to the audience. It's about 30 minutes. You want to leave a statement, you want to leave a word, so that everyone who comes to watch this, maybe tomorrow, could be there for 10 years, 20 years, would have a word to say, this resonated with me. I got this from this live session and I'm running with it. What would you have to say?
I think what I would like to say is you can do it. There is a lot that we think we can't do, but what I've learned is that you can do it. And this takes me back to 2001 when I had been working somewhere for 8 years, and my husband was encouraging me and was telling me, set up your own firm, set up your own firm. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, can I do it? Leave the security of this certain monthly salary to go out into the unknown. How will I get the clients? Then when I get the clients, I don't know everything. How will I be able to help them and so on? And he kept encouraging me. You can do it. You can do it. And I stepped out. And guess what? I could do it.
Wow.
I am doing it.
Yeah.
And I will be doing it.
Great.
And the security that I thought I had, that monthly salary, actually was no security at all. Because if they wanted to get rid of me, all they had to do was give me 30 days notice. So I think just that confidence, you can do it. You have a big goal, so you break it down into smaller sections and you take one bite. You look at it. I've done that one. You take the next bite. You do that one. And you take the next bite. And at the end, you will look back and think, oh, wow, I have done it.
Wow.
Glory be to God.
Yeah. I think there's something wrong with our network.
Adjust the right time.
Yeah, I can't see you any longer.
Yes, changing over, like I mentioned earlier.
You told me. Okay, let me give you a break to get that done.
I'm back.
Thank you. Are you done with your talking? You were saying something?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yeah, I think I will just take a minute break so that we can come back for questions. Maybe one or two people want to send in their question. I'm just going to show the live this trailer of my book. Yeah, good to hear. Good, we're back again. I'm actually just checking the chat. I think I have some questions. Good to be here to listen to Mr. Ibrahim. A lot of parents still force their will. No, I'm just giving comments from people who had dropped chats just to see if there are any questions for you. Someone said, good to be here to watch you and to listen to you live. Mrs. Ibrahim, that's Adiola Olaojo. He said a lot of parents still force their will and choice, of course, of study on their children, which we must, desist from doing. Allow them to find their strength and their passion so they can get good at what they are called to be. Lawyers actually listen. That's a revelation. Good vibes. And true, because I thought lawyers were talkative. They talk a lot. When you talk, I was like, oh, you're good to be a lawyer. And if I can see it, then I can do it. Sure. So there are no other comments. I want to say thank you for your time, giving us this time. And it's awesome having you. I don't think I wanted to let you go, but since there are no questions coming in, I would have to take a bow and say thank you for being on this show this evening. And if this is your first time on this channel, please, if this has also impacted you, please spread the news. They say when you get something good, you tell others to come join so they can learn. We come here, we tell people stories, and because there are reasons we learn from people's stories. Your stories are unique to you. Nobody exactly has same story. And that's what differentiates us. As to Mrs. Bunmi Ibrahim's story is different from my story. So when we come here, we want our story to be better told, so that when we are no longer here, we'll be able to say, she did this, she did that, she impacted a world. So we want to be a people of difference. We want to make a difference in our time. We want to be able to make a mark on the sign of our times. And the first people we have to impact is our family before the outside world. So let's learn not to enforce anything on anyone. Find out what their strengths are, discover and see what they are, and help push them in the right path. All they need at this time, our children, is our guidance. Listen to them, find out what their strengths are. Ask the Holy Spirit to tell you what and what you need to know as a parent so that we can help them and nest the giftings in them, the talents in them. Everyone has been called for a reason, and God has made us, everyone has something in them. No one was created giftless. We all have gifts in us. So all we need to do to be able to get to the full potentials of our gift is harnessing it, having people helping us to harness it, having the right environment, having the right people, reading the right books. And with this, I want to say thank you for your time this evening. I want to say you impacted me, and I'm sure people around the world too would attest to that you did impact them. I was also impacted, will I say 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. The book you gave me, when I see the book, I just say, Mrs. Bunmi Ibraheem. It resonated with me. And that was the book, Millionaire Woman Next Door. So I said, she's looking at me to become very wealthy. And that's a great one. And God got me encouraged. And every time I see the book, I remember you. So it's a good gift. I do cherish it. And it's still very new, looking very new. It's a gift set, and that's the reason I said everybody has a book in them. You have something you want to tell your generation, and I tell you that stories that you have that you are not able to share in this kind of life, you can write a book. I do copywriting. I tell people, I said, just give me your thoughts together, put your thoughts together. You can be in a voice note. I can help you put them down in writing. I can send them back to you so that it has your touch, not my touch, because it's your story. It's your book. Everyone has a story, has a book in them to write. So we've all been called, and we all have our stories and, things we've been through. It is said there is no gain if there is no pain. You must have gone through some kind of test for you to have a testimony. You must have a scar to show the world that I have been through this route and I can teach. I can be a coach in this area. I've been through a lot too. So, and I'm sure Mrs. Bunmi Ibraheem has been through a lot. And this short, maybe I might have to bring you again some other time, maybe in a few months, to tell some other ordeal that you've been through and how you coped. Life is all about stories. We've all been through diverse experience. And one of the reasons for this live show is for us to learn. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I have been, Bunmi Ibraheem has been through this, and I don't have to go through the same pain she went through. I can write on her experience, cut up on all the pitfalls she had been through, and, get to my goal and my vision faster. So that's what life should be all about. I shouldn't allow my neighbor to go through the same pain I went through. I should be able to be a guiding angel, someone leading them by the hand and taking them through the path so that it's easy for them. Because I went through it the rough way doesn't mean that everybody around me should also suffer. We can put smiles on people's face. So I want to say thank you and have a nice evening and a restful night. For everyone connecting all around the world, I want to say thank you for connecting. Thank you for staying tuned, and thank you. Please share the link if it inspired you, it touched you. Tell others so they can join us on this channel so we can learn from each other. We are on our journey to making a difference. Thank you very much and have a blessed evening. Bye.